I'm going to cut this and put this at the beginning. Man, Spotify is hating on us. It's hating on us. Posted the last video and it said, yo, you should have more followers for the amount of people that listen to your videos.
Yeah.
Spotify literally gave us a notification that said we should have more followers and higher ratings or more ratings based on how many people listen to the episodes. So if you enjoy the podcast, okay, only if you enjoy the podcast or you feel like you've ever got some value from it, please do us a favor and take the 5-10 seconds to rate us 5 stars on Spotify. Make sure you're following along on Spotify. Make sure you follow along. You subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Like the video. Subscribe. All that good shit. Lots of love. Thank you guys for doing that. Now we'll get into the episode from here.
That's a slippery slope where like everything's bad for you. Everything's bad for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To someone, you can argue, you can make a strong enough argument that everything is a little bit bad for you.
Yeah.
But it's like then it's like, okay, so let's say you take everything out and you just eat meat. But then there's arguments that like too much meat is bad.
Red meat is bad.
Okay, so you eat, you know.
But then, okay, one thing I'm wary of. I can't remember where I heard this.
There's so much water. This is yours, actually.
What? No, thank you. One thing I'm wary of is, I can't remember where I heard it referenced recently. I think it was probably in one of the nutrition courses.
Yeah.
Exploring that idea that you can kind of get studies to represent what you want them to represent, but how a lot of the times these like scary things are referencing a study that just you've extrapolated some idea that is not what the study actually represented.
Yep.
So that's something I'm always cautious of, because you hear reports everywhere of this thing is really bad for you, like, and then the complete opposite thing is really bad for you as well.
Yeah.
I hear it on a daily basis, and my response now, I just don't believe anything. My response is always just why, and then the person saying it often doesn't know why because they're just repeating something that they heard.
Yeah.
And then I would encourage them to look into why before you tell me that something is bad.
It's why, or I just say it's probably fine.
Yeah.
Probably fine. But there's worse things.
Yeah.
There's bigger poisons I could be having. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if it would even picked up in the beginning. We were talking about pans. We were talking about non-stick pans being bad for you.
Yeah.
As opposed to, what is the alternative? Yeah. What's the
Like
alternative? Cast iron?
say.
Don't you have to season those? You have to season the pan. Man, yeah. I'm not seasoning my pan every day, man. You have to oil up your pan.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm giving a fuck. Like, are you oiling up your pan?
I put a sprinkle of oil on.
Yeah, when you're cooking. Like,
Yeah.
Not just to go to bed. Like, you're not tucking in. You're not tucking in your pan. Like,
No, I'm not caressing it.
Yeah, that
I
wouldn't
think
be
Adam
me.
is, you know.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tucking in the pan? Like,
He's doing stuff for that pan.
Yeah.
That pan hasn't been washed.
oh my god.
You leave the crust on it. Yeah.
That's fucking gross.
His eggs taste like
Yeah.
tacos and all.
Your dinner from last month.
Yeah. Spaghetti bolognese, eggs. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's.
Anyway.
I'm sure. Again, if I looked into it enough, you could scare me into it. But
Yeah, I could scare you into anything though.
yeah, I
Like
don't.
everything's bad for you.
Where's the line?
Where is the line?
How do you know what to believe anymore?
Yeah, like give me the pyramid of things that are bad for you.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
like draw a harsh line between level 4 and 3 because that's where it's
Yeah.
stuck. You know, or you know, it's a big one. Have we talked about like relative and absolute percentages? A little bit.
Maybe a little bit, but hit me. What do you
So
think?
like people will say, you know, people who have red meat are like 3 times as likely or like 30% more likely to get cancer. And then it's like, fucking, I'm never eating red meat again. But you look at, it's not that people who don't eat red meat have a 1% chance and people who do eat have a 31% chance. It's that people who don't eat it have a 0.0000063% chance, and then people who do eat it have a 0.0000067. And then it's like, or relative, it went up 30% of 6 or whatever. It went up to like 0.00008.
And then another one that I've heard exploring that goes back to the point of you can kind of make a study show whatever you want, where it's not red meat as in someone's eating 5% lean beef and rice and
like
vegetables.
This person is eating
McDonald's hamburgers,
patties.
So you're following someone who is eating fucking triple Whopper cheeseburger
it's like,
supreme.
You also left out that they're 55% body fat in that group as well. It's like,
and then you compared it to someone who's like vegan and they weigh like 50 kilos.
Yeah. I hope they're not getting fucking heart cancer.
Yeah.
Their heart isn't doing anything.
A similar one, man. Okay, this is not similar at all. It's a complete tangent, but I was talking about it yesterday. I sent you this, and I could not fucking believe it.
Yeah.
It was Arnold talking about how he has a
Arnold's
vegan,
crazy, man.
how he has a vegan diet,
Yeah.
and then I looked it up, and he has this is what they said. This is what they said. I couldn't believe this shit. He has a 50% vegan diet. Bro eats vegetables, and then he eats meat. So he eats meat and vegetables. He's 50% vegan. Are you taking the piss?
So they rounded up. Fully vegan.
What are you talking about? So he's 0% vegan. How do you eat some vegetables?
Man.
And then, what are we talking about?
The only thing I can imagine is in his brain, he's gone, right, when I was younger, I just ate meat. Never ate vegetables. So now I'm a vegan because I eat vegetables.
I eat vegetables as well.
Yeah.
What are we talking? You just make shit up. You just make shit up.
Yeah. Well, is a bisexual person gay?
50% gay.
So they can round up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was going to go down a rabbit hole, and we do not need to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
No, you just be making shit. It's just perception. You can just say words.
Man, you absolutely can.
That just bend the truth to
People
whatever
do
you
just
want.
say shit. Sean started, a close friend of mine, he listens to like tons of podcasts because he's always in the car driving.
Yeah.
So he gets through tons and tons, and then brings interesting like concepts to me. Like, oh, I heard this, but in the past he would have just said the statement, and I would start to say like, oh, did they like explain the study, or like did they present the paper, or is it from a paper, or did someone just say that?
Did they just fucking say it?
And then the other day we were with a friend of his that we hadn't seen in a while, and he was like, Andrew ruins the buzz. Every time I say this supplement is so good for muscle growth, he says, who studied that? What age were they? Now I'm not reading anything anymore. So funny.
Yeah, I like
But
that.
you're right though, you can either be scared by absolutely everything or listen to nothing.
Yeah, just not take anything.
You kind of have to learn enough knowledge though. Like,
Yeah.
if 14-year-old me just listened to absolutely nothing, I've eaten way too many Cheerios and not enough anything else. But because we've learned enough, you can then just kind of go, right,
You can filter.
I should be okay. But also, the best thing, like the best like public health advice goes to like the general pillars. It's like, maybe there's an argument to be made for Teflon pans. Yeah. But if you're not like sleeping well, you know, hitting
big
protein, micronutrients, hydration, stress, if you're not doing all that, and you're not like, you know, eating substantial enough meals, and you're not eating in excess and not frying everything, but also not, you know, being super restricted. So long as you can just like do the general stuff. Yeah. Most people don't do those very well.
You majoring in the minors.
And if you major in the majors, I'd be confident in saying I wouldn't be too fussed. As in, imagine you were to overlook 1,000 people's diets. Yeah. You wouldn't be going into the finer details of what they're cooking on. No. The biggest things is, can you just tell me if you're hitting the pillars, please? And then you can go. Yeah. Because you're going to be completely
And you'll get 90% of it. It's that whole idea of the big rocks and the freaking, if you have a jar and you've got big rocks and you got some little pebbles and you got some sand, if you're shoving in all the sand first, then you can only fit in one or two of the big rocks. Whereas if you put the big rocks in first, then the little pebbles, they fill the gaps, and then you put the sand in and it fills the whole jar up the full way.
That's explained perfect.
Yeah. So focus on the big rocks.
Man.
There's I feel like that's the case in like everything. There's like a few core principles that doesn't take that long to learn, and if you can just adhere to those, you'll probably be sweet. And then you can go into infinite complexity and cause a million issues for yourself. Find the tiny details that give such tiny returns. Man. Tiny returns.
Well, there's an analogy here somewhere. Let me cook.
Hit me.
The leaves fall off the trees in the winter, but the trunk of the tree remains.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. And you just whip that up yourself, man.
You don't got to worry about the leaves. The leaves change.
An autumnal analogy.
That's an autumnal analogy.
He's just living
out there.
Man, he's just experiencing. He's creating art right now.
Right now.
Poetic.
Man, life actually is beautiful. Look at those red leaves there.
I know.
They're beautiful.
And then it's contrasting against the green.
The green.
Man, why does green and red go together so well? Why does nature just create that itself?
And red is like, I'm nearly done.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting one because not only, that analogy is whatever, but the leaves come with the seasons. Yeah. The trends come. So the sand is seasonal. It's like, oh, people like doing accessories this way now, or people like Teflon pans are bad now, or what's like a current diet trend, like different products come out.
Carnivore, fucking
all these. Like the seasoning changes, but you need to just be hitting the trunk of the tree. Yeah, your trunk of the tree needs to be strong, you know?
Yeah. Fucking, what's that, where you start doing a top single after you've done working sets? That coming around, that
Yeah.
whole idea, that comes
Yeah,
around
it's
for a
like-
while. A new accessory, the fucking belt squat is the
belt
biggest thing
squat.
for ages.
It's like
45-degree hip
none of that
extension.
is making or breaking anything.
Yeah.
And I love when people are like, this is the exercise. Like, no, it's not, dog. Like,
Yeah.
that's not the thing about your programming.
Yeah.
You
Do you
know?
have to just go through enough experiences to be able to discern that?
To discern that, let's say you try
This stuff
every
doesn't matter,
extreme,
yeah.
but then you realize the only thing that
The
was
only constant
omnipresent,
was
the constant
training.
Yeah, training.
Progressive
Yeah.
overload.
Not
Getting-
wrecking yourself,
Yeah.
doing this. Yeah.
Yeah. How, I made a post about that, how like there's often just no shortcut for time. Like you can't, oftentimes, and I find this, like expressing this idea to my clients a good bit recently, where we have done so much of the front loading. If you've been working with someone for like a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, we've done so much of the work to set you up in a position. You know everything that you got to do.
Yeah.
You're ticking all of the boxes.
Yeah.
Like you have every variable dialed in. You have like optimized the process as much as you can. But I think we have this feeling that there's always something more we need to be improving. We always need to be looking for some tiny margin that we can fix. And you start going down this rabbit hole of overanalyzing your technique or overanalyzing some minute detail that is, it is the sand. It's not going to make or break the direction of your training. The only real variable left is time. And you can't compress time. Like we can optimize all these things in the short term, but after a certain stage, when you have like laid that process out, time is the only thing that's left. You just need to do it for long enough. You just need to keep doing these things, and that's where people kind of can run into issues because it's not. Obviously, that's not like the fun, sexy answer. And when you consider that, oh shit, I need to do this for like just 2-3 more years. What the hell? That's so daunting because it's such a large time scale.
Yeah.
Oh, like if I consider like the physique that I want is probably 3 years away. That's shit. You almost want to just like throw up your hands and say, fuck it, I want something now. Like I want immediate returns.
Yeah.
But oftentimes you just gotta shorten that time scale as much as possible. Find ways to enjoy that daily process, like the day-to-day activities, like win those tiny moments, and then eventually, before you know it, you can look back and see the distance that you traveled. But yeah, it's
There's no good shortcut. There's no cheap answer. Like it's like hopping on gear.
Yeah.
It's like it's a cheap, quick. It's cheap in time, but then costly in health.
Yeah.
You know what's you know good isn't cheap, and what's cheap isn't good. And
I like that.
yeah, but also in that post you mentioned enjoying the process. And again, it sounds so cliche, but until you can like develop this experience, this like experiential wisdom, where okay, so you can guarantee a client you will squat 250, but it's in 3 years. So you can't have it right now. So what's the only alternative? Because you also don't want to wish away that time, because that's 3 years. 3 years of your life.
Yeah.
You only have so many groups of 3 in your life.
Yeah.
You know, 3 years in your life until you're gone. So what's the only alternative is to like find ways to enjoy the time until you get there, and enjoy doing what's essential, but you can't have it now. It's like that's like life itself, though, isn't it? You have to enjoy the day to day.
It's like such a big theme. I came up with an analogy in one of the previous episodes when we were driving. I think I was driving to one of the competitions, and it hit me in my brain, and I was like, oh my god, this is literally an analogy for training, for life, for everything. Where say you have a 4-hour drive ahead of you. You're driving to the back arse Ireland. You know you gotta get there.
Yeah.
It's 4 hours away. When you got that Google Maps up, and every second you're checking the maps, and you're seeing, I got 3 hours 59, 3 hours 58.
The time fucking goes up, bro.
It is so draining. It's
so draining.
miserable. It's an awful experience. The whole drive, it feels like it takes an eternity, and you're not enjoying any of it. Whereas when you can just turn on some music, brother, you just crank up that music, you start enjoying it, you start letting it in, you start taking in the scenery around you.
Oh my God.
Man, there's one point in the drive, okay, when you're driving down the country to one of these venues that the competition is in, there's one point where you drive like up a hill, and you get to the crest of the hill and you come over it, and it's like a psychedelic experience or something. The whole landscape it just completely like falls out in front of you. It's so beautiful. Every time I get to that one point over the hill, out loud I go, oh my God, that is so beautiful. Like Ireland is so beautiful.
It is beautiful.
And the
when
rolling
you look,
hills,
it's beautiful.
it is amazing. When you just crank on that music, you start taking in the scenery around you. Man, next thing you know, you check that distance. Man, you're halfway through the journey.
Oh.
It's beautiful, and you enjoyed
You don't
every
even want
moment.
it to end.
You're
Yeah.
in the moment. You're
Yeah.
going, fuck, man, I might
Yeah.
just go back. I might drive the back way because I want this to take longer. And then same thing, man. You just turn that music up a little bit louder. You just enjoy the ride, and next thing you know, you're there. And you look back and you see all that distance you covered.
Yeah.
Come on, as opposed to checking every second, checking your abs every second, fucking,
You're not changing.
watching your top step back every day, fucking, just wishing that you had an extra 10 kilos on there.
Yeah.
Brother, enjoy the ride, enjoy the experience, enjoy the people around you, enjoy the little wins, enjoy the little sessions, enjoy every rep, savor it, savor the bad, savor the bad as well.
Savor everything.
Man, there's I think this is what it means. I could be fucking totally wrong.
Hit me.
Man, we'll look it up and it'll be complete
It's
bogus.
different. Yeah.
But have you ever heard the word equanimity? Do you know what that is?
No.
I've heard it from these like spiritual kind of texts and books on Buddhism and whatnot. But it is the idea of being at like one state through the highs and the lows, like acknowledging that the highs and lows are part of this cycle and not letting yourself succumb to that and ride such high highs and such low lows. You can maintain this like state of stability throughout those highs and lows. That's the way that I've interpreted that equanimity. So even when you're going through a tough time, knowing that like, what's that saying? This too shall pass. In the good times, this too shall pass, and you're going to get to a stage where you hit like a little bit of a rocky period. In the tough times, you know that too. It's not going to last forever. There's going to be times where you get that upswing again. So being able to keep that core of stability and peace amidst highs and lows. That's the way that I've interpreted that equanimity. So enjoying the process. There's going to be times where it's tough. There's going to be times where you plateau a little bit. There's going to be some bad sessions. But just stay the course. Ride the roller coaster. That's all you can do. What are you going to do? Are you going to resist reality? It's going to happen anyway.
Yeah, there actually kind of is no alternative.
Yeah. You're just going to like, yeah, that's the best way I can put it is resisting reality. Hit me. Go on,
Yeah, and that's where we have people outsourcing like numbness as well. Like alcohol. Why is alcohol so popular? It's like a feeling number. It's like a reality warper.
It's an escape. It's
an
escapism.
escape.
Man, escapism. I remember when we were talking about the social media and stuff and like mindless consumption, I kept saying distraction, but I think escapism.
Escape's perfect.
Escapism is a better wording for that. Yeah. So
Yeah,
keep cooking. Keep cooking. You're
No,
on the
I
road.
wasn't cooking. I was just toying with it. Where like, of course, it's a normal human experience to want to subvert the bad times. But man, I just know. I guarantee we'll be 80 going. I wish I was under like 220 and thinking this feels heavy. You know, I wish I could go back to the days that I couldn't quite articulate myself perfectly to the person I was arguing with. You know, because they're gone now.
Yeah.
You know, so come on.
Yeah.
It's like all those frustrations are the beautiful kind of intricacies in the painting.
Man, this is such a silly story. Well, it's not silly. It was interesting though. I have two younger sisters, but one of them was baking cookies the other day, and she spent like hours like making the dough and everything, and trying to like sculpt it perfectly, and bought the ingredients and everything like that, and put the cookies into the oven. She was following this recipe. She was so hyped. She was telling the rest of the family about these cookies she was making. Burnt the fuck out of them. She burnt the fuck out of them.
Hockey puck.
Okay, she cooked them. She destroyed them and was so upset.
I can imagine.
She was like bawling, crying for like ages afterwards. I ruined it. I wasted the ingredients. It was so bad. I'm never making these again. I failed. I'm a failure. All these kind of sentiments and ideas.
Yeah.
And I was chatting to her a little bit and exploring, can we learn from this experience? Does this experience need to be a reflection of your worth as a human? That you burnt cookies one time, so you are the worst person ever and you can never bake again and you suck so bad? Can this just be feedback that we tried a thing and it didn't work? So let's analyze what didn't work and then try it again and make it work next time? No, like, you know, when you're emotional, you don't want to see like any logical reason. And that's something I was trying to do as well. I wasn't trying to like force logic on it, because when someone's emotional, you can't force logic on them. I was trying to prompt the logic out of her through questions. Yeah. And it was funny because she'd be crying, but then occasionally she'd laugh when she realized how ridiculous it was. Anyway, oh no, I'm never trying again. It's such a waste. I can't do it. I can't bake. I'm so bad. Blah, 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 blah. The next day, when I went home, man, there was this batch of the most perfect cookies ever. All she realizes is she needed to chill the dough. Man. There was one tiny tweak. She followed the recipe perfectly, and all she needed to do was chill the dough. And through this one mistake, we learned that experience. That's why I say, I was like, this is a learning experience. It wasn't a failure. It was, you went through that experience that now you know for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You got to chill that out.
Yeah.
You went through this one hardship. You realize how bad it felt when you were going through the hardship, and now you know that thing that you got to do going forward. And she made the perfect cookies. They were delicious. And I went off track just to eat one of them cookies.
I'd say so.
It was amazing. But it was
breaks my
funny
heart.
as I was like chatting through it with her.
Yeah.
I was like, this is just like a human experience that you have to go through. You have to,
Yeah.
where you put all this effort into something and it doesn't work the way that you wanted it to. You go through that failure. It sucks failing. Like, I think one of the tendencies can be like, oh, get over it. It's cookies. It doesn't matter. But I was like, no, that is upsetting because you put hours of work into a thing and it didn't work the way that you wanted it to. That is going to sting. Can we take a bit of a positive from it? Because everyone's going to go through that. Whatever realm it's in, you're going to go through a competition prep where you put hours and hours and hours of work, of training into this one thing. And it might not play out the way you want it to. That stings. That stings.
That is things. Oh, sorry. You said that stings.
That stings.
I thought you were saying that
that
stings.
stings.
That's it.
That stings.
Yeah.
But can we remove that personalization? Can we take away that like attachment to our self-worth and our value as a person from this thing, like the
arbitrary.
Yeah. This like in the grand scheme of things, there's nothing to do with who you are as a person. Can we just learn? Can we take it as feedback? Can we take it as data? And can we learn to be even better the next time? That's just the cycle of life, baby. You try stuff, you fail, you try again. Come on, it's beautiful.
It is a cycle of life. First of all, absolutely melts my heart that, like, you went about your day because the burnt cookies don't matter. It's okay. She thought about it. She went to sleep thinking about it. She woke up and she's like, I'm perfecting these cookies today. I got this. Man, that's strength right there.
Yeah.
That's in the face of extreme frustration going, I'm going to get back up and I'm going to go again. Yeah. That's the Captain America getting up and tightening the shield on his arm and going, I can. Or I saw Matthew McConaughey saying his dad used to hate whenever he said, I can't do something. He's like, what'd you say?
No.
He said, you're having trouble.
Oh!
You're having trouble. Dad, I can't get the lawnmower to start. What the fuck did you just say? Goes out, fixes 10 minutes, pulls it, boom. He's like, you're having trouble
getting that.
Yeah.
Man, there's a book that I read and it was called Everything is Figure Outable. I like that. Yeah, I like that one. That's a good one to live by. Everything is figure outable. Yeah. Go.
Here's one. What about in the moment? What about when she burns the cookies? Let's use burning cookies as an analogy for everything in life that's upsetting. When you burn your cookies, what do you do in the immediate to deal with the emotion? Because even we know to this day, it's fine when you burn cookies, but you've burnt them.
Yeah. And you know how upsetting it is the
you
first
bought
time
the
you go through
ingredients,
that.
you spent the time, and now you don't have the enjoyment. It's like 3 phases of loss. So what do you do?
Do you have to just go through?
You have to just grieve the cookies.
You do have to. There's kind of, as we were saying, there's that accepting of reality. Like, I think that's where so much of the suffering and struggling and strife comes from, the resisting of reality.
The resistance
the
of
longer,
acceptance.
the longer you resist reality, the more difficulty you create for yourself. I think the longer you think that things didn't go the way they should have been, the longer you're going to suffer. I think that is the root of a lot of the suffering. And the quicker you can fast track the acceptance, moving through those stages of grief, and maybe it just happens the more times you have to go through the process. Does that maybe shortcut it? How do you get to a stage where you can scale down that time as much as possible? Because that's one of the things I realized is there's only so much I can say. You have to experience this. We touched on it in the last podcast of like wisdom has to be a lived experience. There's information and knowledge can be passed down through words, but a lot of things you just have to go through yourself. You need to have that, like experiential connection to the words and the information to know it in your bones. There's only so much that you can do with information that you haven't lived. There was actually a quote here. Let me pull this up. Were you going to say something there? Did I cut across you?
No. Let me add in that emotional experience is a little bit like a fire, or it is very natural. Emotion is one of the most natural parts of our psychology, and likening it to fires or storms or anything like that, it is actually going to happen, and you can't cut it off. You can't just we can blow out a fire in small, but let's say a big fire. We can only really control the fire, or a storm is we can only protect ourselves against the storm. We can't stop the storm or the rain or whatever. So minimalizing the impact of the emotional storm.
Yeah.
And maybe in a way you can like trim off the edges. You can like, you can push the fire into a corner where the fire can grow really large, but we can minimize it. We just have to let it burn itself out with the emotion.
Yeah, I like that. The quote I was talking about here is, borrowed wisdom breaks under pressure because you haven't earned it. You're trusting someone else's compression without knowing what created it. Earned wisdom, on the other hand, holds up because it's rooted in your actual experience. Yeah. You know when it works, why it works, when to ignore it, and when to bend it because you created the compression. Fascinating.
What's it mean by compression?
So the way that I think about this is, like little quotes and things like that. I think I heard Chris Williamson refer to this as little zip files. It's like a tiny little compressed file where this one line means so much of this background information. And the background information is the lived experiences of the trials and tribulations that you've gone through, realizing that there is this cyclical nature of when things are hard, you know it's going to come back up, and you can learn from difficult situations and you can come back from it. And like this failure, although it feels like the biggest deal in the world right now, when you have more lived experience in your life, you realize how small of a moment that is in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. So this little snippet is a compressed version of all that lived experience that you have, versus when you hear that information from someone, you're just hearing the snippet. You're not getting the background. You're not getting the experience. You're not getting the emotions. You're not getting that, what could have been a day, a week, a month, a year of experience compressed into that one sentence. It doesn't have the same meaning for you. Whereas when you've gone through it yourself, you know, like you kind of, that idea of you have to follow the rules to know when to break the rules. Yep. You know everything to do with this experience. You know the ins and outs, the nuances. Whereas just having the information itself is not sufficient until you've gone through your own version of that experience, I think.
Fantastic.
Yeah. There was something that I had in the back of my mind when you were talking on the last point, but it's gone. It's gone, so I'll leave it.
But if you get it, hit us.
Yeah. So what was the...
It was when you burn your cookies.
Yeah.
Essentially. And you have to... Okay, so your experience can help minimize the impact. And you can then... The quicker you can come to accepting reality, which is, though the cookies are burnt, you're okay.
Yeah.
You live to fight another day. Things will be okay. This is figure outable.
Yeah.
That can then quench the emotion a little bit. And then I think it's quite a quick road to the end then.
Yeah.
Once you've done all that accepting, it's like, okay, you might still cry a little bit. You might still be upset for the rest of the day or an hour. It's easier to cheer yourself up there on.
Yeah. What are those, is like 7 stages of grief? What are they?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what they are.
I couldn't recall them all, but they are all such familiar stages.
Yeah. And you have to, it's just part of the human experience, I think.
Yeah.
I think you just have to go through that. Maybe that's what the point was. I might have even said it already. Yeah. But just knowing you have to go through that. There's only so much that someone can say to you.
Yep.
There's only so much input or advice that someone can give you. A lot of things you just have to go through. You have to eat it, because what alternative is there? There is no alternative. Yeah. Time is going to pass. Time is going to pass regardless.
And the other alternative is like repression and ignoring, and
that's what it was. It was. In one of the ways that you can fast track that, I think, is confronting it, is not having that distraction and escapism.
Yeah.
That's what I think one of the roots or the problem is it's so easy to distract yourself. It's so easy to not confront whatever the difficulty is. It's so easy to not do the reflection or move through those stages of grief through escapism. Now, I think we did touch on before that there may be some instances, of course, where the level of grief is so high. It's not just something as trivial
as... You didn't just burn your cookies,
where perhaps it is too overwhelming to deal with, to just confront it by itself.
All at once.
Yeah.
And...
So maybe in that stage, it is useful to have distractions and some level of escapism, just to allow time to do its thing, to allow that like natural healing process to unfold. But I think, I don't know, I don't have a fully formed stance on it, but maybe even in that instance as well, if you can summon the strength to confront it, maybe that is the most beneficial. Maybe the more you distract yourself, the more you drag it out, the more you avoid it, the more it lingers.
Mhm.
The more it builds up, the more it's that fucking like monster in the closet. It's the fucking it's when you can
shove it
shine
under the
light on
rug,
it.
kind of. The monster then grows.
Yeah.
Like before the rug's just like a hat on the top of the monster. Yeah.
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 Maybe the sooner you can confront that, the sooner you can force yourself, because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable even as is when you're not experiencing something negative.
Yeah.
When you're not experiencing negative emotions, to just sit with your thoughts and confront your thoughts as they come up. It's just we just don't like doing that.
Yeah.
We have this a phrase that I heard for it is idleness aversion. We just don't like being idle. We like doing stuff. We just enjoy. It gives us these like little chemical reactions
Idleness
in our brain. We
aversion.
like pursuing stuff.
Yeah.
That whole study of people would rather just like shock themselves than sit around and do nothing.
Yeah.
Your sister actually reached out to find that study. She was asking me if I had found the study, and I hadn't even read it yet, admittedly. But then I read it when I had found it to send on to her, and it was fascinating. There was more to it. They gave them a few different instances where someone could just sit in a room for 15 minutes and do nothing. Someone could sit in a room and read. Someone could sit in a room and shock themselves. So there was a few different variations of that. But essentially, we do have this idleness aversion where we don't like sitting around doing nothing. And then there's that whole fucking like Buddhist ideology of if you can get comfortable doing that, that's probably a pretty good place to be, because you don't need anything else. You don't need external stimulus. Your baseline existence comes with like content. You are happy. You don't need anything external. You don't you have no desire for anything more than just yourself, your existence, your value. That's one of the things that I was actually on the drive here, I was considering it, where it was detaching your self-worth, because in the latest post that I put up, detaching your self-worth from your performance in the gym. Something I experienced recently is, say, with content that I was producing, when it was underperforming, it was like stressing me out so much. I was like judging myself down, I'm like, shit, and I suck. And I was attaching my self-worth to the performance of this content. Even while I'm making posts about detaching your self-worth from performance in the gym, and like not making that connection, or even though I can logically in my brain make the connection, I wasn't making the connection in the emotions that it was like evoking within myself. So how can we detach our self-worth from performance-based metrics in anything, whether it's like performance in the gym, whether it's performance with content creation, whether it's performance in work, like how many sales you got, performance in school with your exams. Why is our value, like, why do we always inherently attach it to some performance-based metric? Do we just have value through being a human, through existing? Like, are we inherently born with value? Like, if a child is born, does that child inherently have value? Would you say, no, you got to go produce something to be of any value?
Dude, what is value?
What is value? And then I was getting onto what is value. And then I was like, okay, are people who have produced a bunch of stuff more valuable? Say, is Jeff Bezos, because he's made Amazon that has like made buying stuff so convenient for millions and millions and millions of people, is he inherently more valuable? Is a person who has like created a cure for disease, are they like inherently a more valuable person? What is value? How do we determine what value? What is the thing that we're attributing to that? Sure, Jeff Bezos has done goods, he's made things convenient to buy, but is the determination of value just inherently personal? Do you just get to choose the metrics that you value yourself by? Can I value myself by how honest I am? Can I value myself by how caring I am for those people? Do I need to value myself on anything? Am I just inherently valuable because I'm a human being? What is value?
Or do you even need to
does it exist?
The
why
verb value?
Yeah, why do you need to create a judgment on that at all?
Yeah, you don't need to judge anything by a metric.
What it just is.
But we do.
Yeah, why do we do that? Okay, can you just be? Can you just be a person? Why do you have to? Why is there any value? Can you just be? Can you just be content being?
Something that comes to mind is, I'll often combat when someone is kind of annoyed or frustrated by another person. And they're like, that person is this or that, or that driver. And it's like, no, they're not. And like, my family and close friends are like, but I'm always just like, they're just a person. You know, like, they were shit at using the cash register. Yeah. Who cares? Yeah. Like, let them be. Doesn't matter.
I think this is it fucking comes back to like stuff that you've been told forever. But just try to treat people the way that you would want to be treated. Yeah. Like, if I made a mistake, I would want someone to afford me some understanding and empathy and compassion and some forgiveness. Like
And
if
not,
I,
and not judge me.
yeah, like if I reversing out of a parking spot and I didn't necessarily see that someone was, I don't know, walking by, obviously I wouldn't mean to ever do that.
Yeah, you
I
weren't
haven't
hoping to hit them.
I haven't had that scenario, but like if I was in that scenario, I wouldn't have meant to do that.
Yeah.
If that happens vice versa, I would try to afford that grace to someone else that they probably didn't mean to do that. One of the things in crucial conversations, I think it was, is when you're in conflict with someone in a conversation, asking yourself and questioning yourself, why would a reasonable, rational person act the way they're acting? Because most people are generally reasonable and rational. They are not trying to be like they're not trying to act with malice or ill intent. Maybe some people are sometimes, but generally people are just trying to like look out for themselves and make themselves feel happy. Most people just want to, they're just pursuing feeling good. They're just trying to feel good in a day-to-day basis.
And averse to feeling bad.
So while maybe, and it might get into a bit of vagary and it's not really like tied down to a specific context, while someone may act in a way that is not the most like productive or conducive or beneficial to you, you can still have some sort of empathy for, they were probably just trying to act in a way that protected themselves as best they could. They were acting not out of malice. They were trying to, people are just trying to feel good most of the time. Why would a reasonable, rational person act the way that they're acting?
People, okay, like you've prefaced, people can act in a way that is dissatisfactory and maybe inconsiderate. And all these, adjectives that are difficult to coordinate with and be around. But why would a reasonable, rational person behave in this way? What it essentially brings to mind for me is that everyone, even if they have like fallacious logic and their logic doesn't work, they are reasonable and rational. So in their mind, they believe in the way they see the world, that they are playing things out in the right way. It's kind of why it's like, we, in our world, when we make their character, it's like, no, I wouldn't behave like that. But we're not in their, I just use the castle. We're not in their castle. You know what I mean? Like we're not viewing out the windows of the dark room that they're in, or the room that's different to ours. We just don't understand the way they...
This was a massive idea for myself. And it was kind of framed in two ways. One of them is it's hard to hate from up close. Like if you see all of the perspective of someone's life, it's hard to really judge them. And the other frame of it was like, if I had lived all of the experiences that you have lived from birth until now, I would have no choice but to act the way that you're acting, because I would be you.
It's a great one.
Because I would just be exactly how you're being right now, because that is the culmination of everything that you've experienced.
Man, we love to take the like high point and judge of like, I wouldn't do that if I was you. It's like, no, you wouldn't do that if replaced in the last 5 minutes of what you just saw. Or the last day.
Because of all of the lived experiences that you've had. This person hasn't had the same experiences. You haven't had the same experiences as them. It's like
if someone said that to me, I wouldn't have responded like that. It's like, you wouldn't have.
But you're a different person.
If you lived that entire life and then someone said that to you, you would have responded in the exact same way.
It's hard
that's crucial. Because people, I can envision people going, no. Taking that like noble, like, no, it wouldn't have. It's like, dog.
Reflect on it. If you... There's no other choice. If I had lived all the experiences that you've lived, I would have no choice but to act the way you act, because I would be you.
And then, some people come back with, it's like, oh, it's still a choice.
But your choices are informed by all of the
everything
that
you've
had, everything
experienced.
that's shaped you. Like,
I think that's a touchy subject for some. And I won't get into it too much, but I can feel it. I can empathize with it, because in their eyes, they're saying, they are now, despite all the experiences, they now have a choice to almost inform themselves and learn. It's correct. They could begin to go down a route of learning about something. But as we said, it's a long process to uproot a castle and put a new one down. It's like you have to start by like sweeping and by clearing the rubble. And that's tough.
It's easy to determine that if you're on the outside. You're the project manager. You can go, oh, well, they should actually focus on this room first. They should do this. They should do that. Wow. Whereas when you're in the castle, you're going,
like, fuck my back. I just moved one brick and I'm fucking wrecked.
So it's very easy to cast that judgment from an outside perspective. But It's,
And then, you know, when you're working hard and someone's like, oh, you missed a spot. How pissed
Yeah.
would you be then?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's your choice. You could just learn. It's like, dude, I'm trying. I'm trying here.
Yeah.
You know?
And this goes on to a whole other one where there is no right or wrong answer to this, but it's, do you think people are in general doing their best? And I pose this to you, and it's an interesting one to explore. Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have the potential to one day do more than they're currently doing at their best? Yeah. But in this moment, are they, to their belief, doing their best with what they? Yeah.
Yeah. I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that. And where this was explored, this was done in like studies of people, or like a bunch of people were asked, do you believe that other people are doing their best? And the people who said no oftentimes were much harsher on themselves. They were more critical, more judgmental of themselves. They experienced like more negative emotions. Whereas the people who genuinely believed that other people were doing their best given their circumstances tended to be more compassionate towards themselves, more understanding, more forgiving. And that kind of idea that if you can give other people the grace that you would like to be afforded, generally you can probably come from it in like a healthier point of view overall. Whereas when you are more critical of others, you're sometimes very like critical of yourself as well. So maybe just give some grace, bro.
The days recently, you were being very self-judgmental.
Very, very, very.
And you're
very.
not a critical person of others.
No.
At all.
Yeah.
So with yourself, you weren't affording yourself any grace. And it's like you're always functioning very highly. Your outputs are pretty fast. It's like a high functioning factory. But you were doing your best. Yeah. Even on your lowest days, you were doing your best.
This was a massive thing, and I was debating like exploring this because I don't know if it will be super relatable for a lot of other people. The experience that I had, and part of me was also thinking, I don't know if I can communicate it very eloquently, and this is almost part of the problem. I was like, I don't feel like I can communicate this because it's very abstract, it's kind of vague. I don't know if I can condense all of the complex emotions and thoughts and feelings that I was going through into some very nice, flowery stream of words that I can clip into a nice section and give to someone. And it's jumbled in my brain. It was very messy. It was very, it was a mess. And I was like, I don't know if it will relate to other people. I don't know if people will be able to get a ton of benefit from it. But sure, look, this is something that I was like experiencing, and even if it doesn't directly relate to someone, maybe you can read through the lines and see what value they may be able to take from it for yourself. But I last week was super burnt out. Maybe that's the way that I would phrase it. I was just in bits, particularly towards the end of the week. It was starting to build kind of in the beginning of the week, and it just got progressively worse and worse and worse. And I'm not even sure if I can describe exactly what I was experiencing, but on the day that was most significant, I think it was maybe Saturday or Sunday, I, in my head, was just feeling so overwhelmed and anxious and stressed out and angry. That was one of the really weird ones. I was like angry for no reason. And I'm not like an angry person. I'm very chill and laid back and easygoing. I was like just angry at the world. And then I was angry at myself for being angry at the world because I was like, I'm not normally like this. What is going on? I had this really tight, like anxious feeling in my chest. I had like a headache. I was just experiencing this like sense of overwhelm, all these like negative emotions and experiences at one time. And man, there was even a point where I was almost like crying. I was like, I don't know what is going on right now. I just have this like incredibly overwhelming sense that like something is bad, something is wrong. I don't know. I can't even put it exactly into words other than a sense of stress, burnout, anxiety, like all of those things at once. And I was somewhat aware of the interplay between like the physiological and the psychological. So in the week leading up to it, I had been quite stressed about like a few different avenues. Say like the business side of things, it's say like tax time coming up. So that's a whole extra thing that I have to worry about doing tax returns and so on and so forth. Just trying to grow the business in general, content creation on that side of things, like the day-to-day running of the business, keeping up with clients, structuring things, trying to upgrade the business. So create all these like documents and resources for the people that I have, the new like role that I've taken on with the university, making sure that I can send out like template programs for people there, balancing like relationship dynamics, friends, family, like people close to me. Just a mishmash, my own training, the direction that I was going there. There was just a bunch of different things that I was trying to juggle at the one time, like a bunch of like spinning plates. Have you heard that analogy where you're trying to like spin a lot of plates at once? And that was all kind of weighing on me. And whether the chicken or the egg, my sleep was really affected from that. So was it the stress that was affecting the sleep? Was the sleep then leading to being more stressed? Is it both? It's a cycle that they're like feeding into each other. Most likely that. Then I was also aware, I was like, okay, food is quite low at the moment. Is that contributing to this? Is this, I've been fine for 9 months. Is 9 months of diet fatigue just landing on my lap this week? Or am I just particularly susceptible to it now that my sleep has been bad and my stress is quite high? So it was just this mishmash, like confounding variables of stress being high, sleep being low, food being low. And I couldn't really identify what was the biggest thing contributing to it. But I think that's the issue. There isn't just one thing that's contributing to it. They're all contributing to it and they all feed into each other. They make each other worse. So the more stressed I wasn't sleeping until 1 a.m. And then I had so much stuff on my mind that I was waking up at 5:30 just because I knew I had so much work to do. And then I was running on a few hours sleep and then I was stressed throughout the day and then my food was still low and then I was just like more tetchy, more irritable, more angry. And then I was getting angry at myself because I was getting angry. And I was like, you're not normally like this. What's wrong with you? You should have all the tools to be able to navigate this. What is going on? And it all built up to this, I think it was on Sunday, where I got through all my check-ins, I got through all my programs, but I was finding it so hard to concentrate as I was working through them. It just felt like there was a million bees like buzzing around in my mind. It felt like I'd taken 10 times too much caffeine and I'd taken none. Like I'd taken no caffeine and I hadn't been sleeping very much. It was almost like a manic feeling that I just felt so overwhelmed and stressed and like the weight of the world was on my shoulders and I didn't know why. Like I couldn't even express why. And basically what I had to do was just be like, shut everything down, put my phone away, put everything away and just sit and just have no inputs and just exist and let my brain start to like recalibrate and reconfigure itself and start confronting what it is that I'm feeling. So when there was nothing, there was no stimulus, there was no input, it was like I was then able to unravel the thoughts. So it was like, what am I feeling right now? I'm feeling anxious. What am I feeling anxious about? What am I feeling stressed about? I don't even really know. Okay, well, let's fucking sit with it. Let's start throwing out some ideas and seeing what one is sticking and what one is landing and what feels particularly relevant right now. And as I started thinking more and more, I started pulling on threads and it came back to this. And again, I don't know if when I express it, if it will resonate or if it will relate or it will make sense to a lot of people, but it was very real to me. And it kind of centered back on, I have this belief that whatever I put my mind to, I can achieve and I can excel at. I believe that I can just do well at whatever it is that I pursue. I have this really high like self-belief, self-efficacy, whatever avenue I choose, I just believe I can excel at that. And I believe that is a positive thing, as opposed to the opposite where you don't have that self-belief and you don't believe that you can kind of enact your will on the world. So I believe it's positive because if you want to achieve anything big, you probably got to believe that you can do it in the first place. So that's been like a foundational like pillar of my life, my existence, my psyche. But I had never confronted the fact that it comes with a sneaky pressure.
Yeah.
When you believe that you can do anything, it comes with this pressure that you should be excelling at whatever it is that you're pursuing. And I was subconsciously applying this to every area of my life. So I was applying it to the business. I was applying it to content creation. I was applying it to my own training and pursuits. I was applying it to relationships. I was applying it even to myself for the fact that I couldn't control my emotional state. Yeah. I had the belief that, okay, I know that I can excel if I put my mind and my efforts towards the business, and I can create a business that's gonna support the life that I want to live, so I can like be in a position X amount of years down the line that I can provide for a family and I can like get a house and blah blah blah. But if I'm not there right now, immediately, that means there's some discrepancy from this ideal that I believe I can attain, that is my potential that I should be at, and where I am now. So I'm doing something wrong that I'm behind and I'm not at this point right now. It was like, these weren't conscious thoughts, and it was only through actually thinking it and creating the structure around it and talking through it that I was able to identify it. But there was this belief that since I think I can excel at whatever I put my mind to, if I'm not there, there's a discrepancy from I'm doing something wrong now and there's something that needs to change and I'm behind. And then applies to content creation. Like, I believe that I have all of these ideas and that I can provide value to people on a really large scale. I believe that all of the information and experience that I've accumulated could be of like really significant value to a lot of people. But if the impact that I'm having is not on the scale that I believe I can, that means there's a discrepancy from where I am now and where I believe I should be, because I have the potential to be there, that I'm falling behind and I'm not living up to my potential, and I'm not doing the right things that I need to be doing right now. And then similarly with my physique, if I believe that there is this ideal that I should be at because that's my potential, because I believe that I can do it, and I'm not there now, that means I'm falling behind. And I had all of these ideals across every domain of my life, and I felt like I was way down here and I should be up here across every category that I possibly could be. And this sense of like overwhelm was the subconscious like pressure that I had put on myself, that I believe I have the potential to be here, but I'm so behind right now. I'm so behind. And that's what it was. It sounds so crazy that I was experiencing this, like how drastic the symptoms or the expression of it was, like physically, like headaches, like a anxious, tight physical feeling in my chest over like days, man, almost like crying. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds crazy from the subconscious pressure that I had been placing on myself to excel, to like push the extent of what I'm capable of in all these different domains, and completely neglecting the good work that I was actually doing. And again, that's why I was partially getting mad at myself again, is because I believe that I have all the tools to navigate a situation like this. I felt as though I should be able to navigate this and not succumb to these emotions right now. It was only through expressing it and talking about it, saying it out loud, that I realized how unfair and illogical it was. And I was able to identify the work that I have been doing. I was able to identify all of the good stuff that I am doing right now and release myself from that pressure that I've been placing. Release that comparison, because it was a comparison to something that doesn't exist. A comparison to this like made up ideal pressure that I had created for myself. While on the one hand, sure, that can be a good thing to have that ambition, it was balancing that ambition with content with where I am now, which is that constant struggle, that constant battle to go through. And it circles back to that idea earlier, like, is value only correlated to things that we produce? What is the metric that we're judging ourselves by? I was judging myself very harshly against a impossible ideal across every domain of my life. I was creating this sense that for me to have value, I needed to be up here across every domain immediately, but like right now. Right now, I need to be up here, and if I'm not, I'm behind. Creating this comparison to this future point that I can only have value when I get to this stage. I can only get there when I have reached this external thing. And that just forces you into a position where you're not enough now. You feel shit now. You feel like you're behind now. You feel less than now. I had created that for myself in my mind. And only through, again, expressing that could I realize that's so unfair. That is so unfair to do to myself. And it was insane. As I was talking through it, I could literally feel like a weight coming off my shoulders. After about an hour of talking, I felt like an entirely different person. I've literally felt like a new human. So weird how something subconscious, like I wasn't actively thinking any of those things, like that belief in my brain, it was a positive belief. Yeah. It's a positive thing in my life, that it was creating this environment of stress and unease. And then how that psychological stress was manifesting into like physiological symptoms. And we discussed it a little bit, how crazy it is. And you can understand how when someone is chronically stressed, how that leads to illness and expression of disease and things like that. It was a fucking journey, and through just giving myself some grace that you're only human. A couple of the biggest things for me were coming back to like process orientation. So a lot of these metrics that I was judging myself by were going to be like external outcomes. It was going to be something external, like a thing, a certain amount of followers, a certain amount of money, a certain amount of whatever it is, like a certain
Clients.
physique. I was judging myself based on this external metric. I can't force that to happen.
No.
The only thing that I can control is my effort to the process in each of these domains. So that is one of the things I knew in my brain, but I needed to revisit it and feel it like in my bones. I needed to talk through it to remind myself of that truth, essentially. And then another idea that was really valuable to make this connection to that, the idea of like purpose. Now, this ties into one of the like ideas from Buddhism and that like kind of philosophy of Dharma, I think it's called.
Okay.
Essentially, it just means like a way of living. Like your values and your virtues. Is the way that you're living aligned with what you value? So for myself, in these domains, let's just take content creation, for example. If I am living in a way that is aligned with my values or my dharma, as you would call it, I would be creating content with the purpose of providing value to others, to provide some form of like education or information or sharing my experience for the betterment of someone else. That would be the purpose of why I'm sharing the content. If I'm sharing content from my ego, it is with the purpose of getting likes and external validation and more followers and selfish reasons. So if I can reframe the intent behind all of the pursuits that I'm doing, if it's aligned with my values, I can be content with that no matter what, regardless of the outcome. If I am producing content that I believe is valuable, that I believe could help one person, then I can be content with that. If in my like business pursuits, if I am able to have the impact that I want to have on the people that I work with, that is me living in line with my values and living in line with my purpose. It doesn't need to be a certain amount of money that you have in the bank. It doesn't need to be whatever like that. If I am living in a way that's aligned with my training related goals or my physique related goals, that's something I can be proud of and content with, rather than trying to get shredded so I can get Instagram likes, something like that. So coming back to that idea has been so grounding, releasing the desire and the egocentric motivations and focusing back on my values and living in line with those. And then another idea that has been incredible, I don't know what this did, but this like was the final piece of a jigsaw puzzle that was like such a paradigm shift for me. I came across a book and the title was Tiny Experiments. I didn't even read the book. I read the blurb of the book after the fact because I was like, okay, maybe I will get this book now and read it. I don't think the book is even anything to do with the meaning that I attributed to it in my head.
You came up with an idea.
I came up with an idea myself, prompted by this book, and I don't think it's anything to do. It's called Tiny Experiments. And one of the issues that I was running into is this like perfectionism. And say we'll just come back to content creation because it's like an easy one. Say in creating a piece of content, I would overthink the wording of something so much that I would be like considering, is this exactly what I want to get across? If someone reads this way, are they going to judge it? Are they going to think that it's stupid? Are they going to think that it's dumb? Is there holes in the logic that I'm using here? Anything like that. The philosophy that I took from this is not needing everything to be perfect. Conducting a bunch of tiny little experiments in my day-to-day. So with a post, rather than this post needing to be perfect and being a representation of me and my value and my worth as a person, it's just a tiny experiment. It's something that I think could be valuable. I'm going to put it out there. It can be good or it can be bad. It can be good or it can be bad, and I'll see based on the feedback that I get from the world if that is something that's worth pursuing. As opposed to everything that I co-sign and everything that I put my name to has to be perfect. I can just conduct a bunch of tiny little experiments. I don't need to be perfect. Okay? I just put some stuff out in the world, I get feedback from it, and then I can iterate and change it from there. for whatever reason, that has freed me from so much anxiety and so much judgment, like fear of other people's opinions. If something is bad, yeah, that's no problem. I tried it and it didn't work, and that's fine. Same goes for the cookies. You try it didn't work, that's fine. It's fine. Not a complete reflection of your value as a person. It's not a reflection of your worth. It's a tiny experiment. You try stuff, you fail, you try again. I don't know where that was missing in my life. I don't know. Again, when you hear words and sometimes they're superficial and sometimes they land, this landed, and it landed like a fucking ton of bricks in my brain. I don't know why. And it ties into, there's this philosophy of like the beginner's mindset versus the expert mindset. So beginner's mind is like kind of fluid. It's open to trying new things. It's open to trying and failing and then trying again. Whereas the expert mind is very rigid. It doesn't want to kind of go off the beaten track because it has a standard to uphold. I felt I created this standard for myself, this perfectionist standard that I needed to uphold. Releasing that and acknowledging, I'm going to try a bunch of tiny experiments. Stuff can go well, stuff can go shit. And then when you try more things, you get more feedback, you try more iterations, and then you double down on what's working. So freeing. I don't need to be perfect. I'll just try a bunch of little tiny experiments in my life, whatever it may be. I can try something, and then ideally you try some stuff that is not going to be so detrimental that you go down like one avenue that it's like you invest all your money in some crypto shit. You don't want to make a decision that's so risky that there's like massive repercussions. Ideally, we'll make a little decision that the consequences aren't too bad if it doesn't work out. Making a post, there's literally no fucking consequences to making a post. Man, that has been so freeing.
Even at that though, there will come crossroads where it feels like a larger tiny experiment or maybe a medium-sized experiment. And even then, man, it's like so long as your self-worth is like intrinsically, not even sourced, but it is just intrinsic. Like the fact that you are is the self-worth. There it is. You're worthy just because you are, just because you exist. And then living by your values maybe is how you assess whether or not you're living in line with how you want to live. And so you assess your values, you say, like this experiment is in line with my values. If it was to fail, I'm still in pursuit of my values and my self-worth is in there anyway. So you might turn around to me one day and go, dude, this is like a bigger opportunity. Maybe I have to make a financial investment or a time investment. And if that doesn't work out, but so long as you were living in line with the way you want to live, I'd be like, man.
Worth it.
Great.
Pursue it. Go for it. And if it goes wrong, learn from it and then keep going.
Making 100 mistakes in pursuit of your values would be a much more fulfilling life than making 0 in pursuit of nothing. Or in pursuit of things that aren't in your value system.
I saw a little clip from Matthew McConaughey, and he was talking about, say you go for something 8 times and you get 7 successes, as opposed to going for something 100 times and getting 8 successes. He goes, I'd still take the 100. He goes, for that extra 1 success, I think you're meant to just keep going. He's like, I think you're meant to just keep going. That's what we're meant to be here for. We just keep going. We just keep taking shots.
Because what's the alternative, dog?
You just fucking
take no shots.
Fuck
it's
that.
Not fun.
Fuck that.
It's no fun.
So that has been freeing. Man, from that like moment on of coming to that realization of like tying all these connections together again. So like night and day, my just demeanor. I feel like myself again. It's so crazy how there is that interplay between psychological and physiological.
That's a huge thing. We can actually just like we can stay on that. But skill error versus effort error. Have you heard of that?
Hit me.
So if you had a bunch of staff or you were managing a team and you basically remind them, or the concept is that an effort error we don't want because that's on your part, that's in your control. And if you are not applying enough effort, you can fix that in order to pursue whatever we're pursuing. Let's say we're playing a match or we're training or whatever, or towards our business goal. But if you're trying and you're doing things wrong, it's not your fault. And in fact, as a manager, then extreme responsibility, it's the manager's fault, it's the teacher or whatever, and that's fine. Like a teacher, a maths teacher even. And let's say, your student doesn't know how to do something, but they really tried to answer it. They weren't, messing about, they weren't going on their phone. They're actually really trying to answer. They're doing everything on their behalf. So that applies to our whole life is don't make effort errors. Go all in your effort, but skill errors are just
acceptable.
They're it doesn't matter. That doesn't.
And it's gonna happen.
That that doesn't happen, and
You don't judge
it
it.
also just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like it's like, how do you become okay with failing? Is a big
Yeah.
part of life. How do you? We need to like not only teach our kids but teach ourselves and teach others that the failing because of skill, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I don't care if someone else fails. I would love to see someone trying something failing over and over again.
Yeah.
We even talked about something recently where it's like, yeah, we don't even think that's a good idea, but they're trying.
Yeah.
And hell yeah,
Yeah.
keep trying.
I back that. I
Yeah,
encourage it.
try everything.
Yeah.
Because you're putting in the effort.
Yeah. You're going for something.
You're going
I
for
love
something.
seeing someone go for
I
something.
love seeing someone go for something. So the what were you? So the psychosomatic
yeah.
expression of, or the physical expression of psychological distress, stress.
Yeah.
We refer to as psychosomatic, which is just like psychologically going down to somatic experiences. Somatic being feeling. Yeah, the main thing that comes to mind is like very early on in like my degree anyway, I assume most psychology degrees, you touch on like fight or flight and that. Can the camera see something that's cleaning the table? Very early on we learn about the like fight or flight response, and everybody's heard that. Everybody's heard of that. And then you learn that, what is this? Do I even explain that? It's like when you're stressed, your body will either prepare itself to fight or prepare itself to run, and then we also add freeze where it just doesn't know what's going on. And essentially what that is the introduction to the fact that what your brain is thinking and experiencing can affect how your body feels.
Yeah.
This occurs through, and this is like a later on thing that I've understood, is this like link. There's probably loads of links as well, but the main one I associate it with is your HPA axis. I think we talked about this really recently, but it's like your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, which basically just means stop 1, stop 2, stop 3, from body to glands to hormones to the effect on your nervous system. Yeah. And when you were talking about how you're feeling, like this is a subconscious state regarding something that you associate with success and being happy, but your brain was stressed because you were in pursuit of something and failing. Is how you were framing it consciously.
Yeah.
So your brain knows this. And so now it's like it's in a stressed state because it's in pursuit and worried.
Yeah.
So now your body, as opposed to fulfilling its like, you could almost say like superficial functions, like the things that it can live without, like being happy, like enjoying, bodily experiences that aren't necessary to life. It's like almost on lockdown. It's like it's going to lock all the doors. Nothing's going in or out, because we need to solve what it is that the organism is stressed over. And that doesn't involve the fun stuff. It involves locking down, and it involves, okay, no one's coming in or out of the building. Let's get the security on the doors, and let's solve whatever's going on the inside. But the longer you do that for, you're not experiencing the ins and outs of life almost, the kind of flow that comes with life. You're like locked down one spot,
You're
frozen.
blocked off from it.
Yeah. And your body gets sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Expresses that stress.
When the Body Says No. That's the name of that book.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Very fascinating book.
Yeah. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You talked tons there. It was really nice to listen to.
Yeah.
And man, you said if your content could help one person, that's the value you're living by. But then bring it right back to when you started and you were like, I don't know if it's going to be relatable. It's like, it's probably explicitly relatable to at least one person. And that is more than enough. But then the embodying of other people's experiences of overcoming stress, regardless of whether or not the specific details of why you were stressed are relatable, the fact that you were stressed and can overcome it, there's more than one person who value how you feel and what you do and how you embody things. So to see you go through a dip and then talk about how you came back out matters to people, even if their dips look completely different. I remember realizing that when I was crying because I was watching some movie, and then I was like, man, I love Spider-Man so much. Why is that? But Spider-Man, it's like none of us are swinging. None of us are trying to balance being a superhero and your personal life. But then I thought about it, and the way I view life is like, you are a superhero. You are doing your hero actions. You are your superhero, and you're trying to balance everything, and you're trying to live up to all these things, and it's impossible to live up to being, the savior of New York and you're New York, and to all your family duties and all your relationship duties and all your business duties. It's like, that's impossible.
Yeah.
And when the reason those movies are so nice to watch and the characters so nice to consume media of is because it's someone struggling with the exaggerated
Yeah.
example of what we
through.
have to face in
the
everyday
hero's
life.
journey, brother.
So man, you're someone's Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Or you can be. You can be. I'm not saying I don't know who.
No, yeah.
We don't know who's on the other end of the camera, but you can be, and you are, because it's important for. Maybe some people won't relate to Spider-Man, but they'll latch on to your experiences more. And also, when I say superhero, it doesn't mean Andrew's like here. The whole point is that Spider-Man's just Peter Parker. He's just a dude, and it can be, what comes to mind is maybe someone's parent or someone's brother or someone's friend or a colleague or a role model or whatever. But I always relate to other people's overcoming of stress, and you're doing that. So I'm glad you talked about it. Because it might not be relatable in its specifics, but maybe there is someone who actually feels all those exact things too, because everybody's trying something. Yeah. Cool. Well done. Well done. Doing great. Doing great.
Yeah, that was a journey.
Yeah, it was.
It was a journey.
It's funny how all of the core values that you live your life by and the things you learn to bolster yourself against the stresses of life go through waves of salience in your life as well. Like right now, you feel like I'll never feel like that again, but you will.
Yeah.
And why is it that they're so salient right now, and you know them all to be factual? This is how you value living your life, and then they like waver in their strength.
This too shall pass. Yeah.
It's interesting, and it's like the inevitability of life and the way you view the world being difficult and being wavered and being swayed in a direction. And then we talked about it recently, how other people can sway you as well. But the things you consume most definitely pull you away from, even though you might feel established. It's like, okay, now I can talk to the people that don't have the great values because I have mine locked in. It's like, no, yours become less salient. You have to like reboot them. You have to like water the flower,
Yeah, and I think that's what made me particularly comfortable expressing like the experience that I was going through, because it's kind of like showing your work. It's just like a peek behind the curtain of the ebbs and flows that it'll be a reminder to myself. It's one of those things that you need to keep coming back to. You need to keep exposing yourself to those ideas. It is. It's just the cyclical nature of life. It's I've finished reading the 100 books, so I'm going to make a post next about what I learned from reading 100 books. It won't be points from the books themselves. It'll just be kind of a bit of a meta learning process, like what I took away from doing that. Yeah. But it was kind of just identifying those universal themes, and whatever struggle you're going through, there is 1,000,000% people who have gone through it before. There's a book somewhere, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, 100 years ago, 500 years ago, 2,000 years ago, there is someone experiencing the same, like someone who has outlined the exact process that you're going through. It's almost comical how we are just like predictably going to go through those same cycles over and over again. Yeah. And even when you know you're going to go through it, you can try bolster yourself against that. You can try make yourself as resistant to those ebbs and flows as possible. It's gonna come. It's the roller coaster of life, baby. You can try your best. It's coming. You know it's coming as well. So maybe try like fucking. People who have a bomb shelter, like they have all the goodies in there.
Or alternatively, when you're on a roller coaster, and you're so scared for your life that you're gripping the handle. It's like, dude, you're locked in whether you put your hands in the air or not. Yeah. So you might as well put the hands in the air and enjoy that shit. Because whether or not you grip onto that thing, if that thing flies off the rails, holding on isn't gonna help. So might as well put the hands up.
And isn't that one of the things actually when you take a big fall, if you're loosey-goosey and limp, you
it doesn't help.
Yeah, you bounce and you're actually better.
You'd have no problem with that.
I'll be loosey-goosey. Yeah, brother.
And limp. But absolutely. Yeah, you just have to be okay with the fact that things go through ebbs and flows. And then there's obviously there's ways you can bolster yourself, but then also have things in place. Like, what do we say? We need to have like a sentence for this. So you might have it better, but when you're pursuing a diet and having the bickies in the cupboard doesn't help. So you need to like minimize the friction. Set yourself up in a way that work's going shit, training's going shit, pursuits are going shit, relationships are going shit, you can always go to one of the others, maybe. Like, so that, like, you can process what you're going through and also
outlet,
have things to keep pursuing in other realms as well.
And then that touches on that whole idea of having more layers to your identity, not having your identity be fragile, tied to one singular thing. That's one, man, I made a post about that, and the comments in it are crazy. A lot of people are like, really needed to hear this. This is something I need to keep in mind myself. Some of the comments in that are mad. And a lot of times it's from younger people who are very much like, this is so fucking dumb. This is so stupid. You need to be one-track minded and obsessed with whatever this one thing. And the person is like 16 years old. And I'm like,
yeah, dude.
like when I was 16, I was probably able to say, that's fine.
And there has to be some amalgamation of, like, we probably are more obsessed with things than some people might interpret that sentence as, or that concept as.
Yeah, but people who just were not acknowledging that point whatsoever, and then people were like thinking the post was like a piss take. They were like, this is some crazy rage bait. And I was like, this is not rage bait. Like, what are you... It's interesting how people can be so far down that rabbit hole of perception that you kind of, it is real, like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Tiger Woods, fucking hustle, grind, kill, one track mind. You have to be so obsessed with this that you have no other facet of your life, that you want this so bad till your eyes are going to bleed. You're fucking so obsessed with this one thing. There was one guy, actually, no, I'm not even going to say that because that would end up being mean. But like, I was surprised how many people were resistant to the idea of having more layers to your identity than one.
Man, I can only propose that it pulls on a string that makes them realize they don't have. They don't have other things. So when you don't have something, it's easier to justify why you don't with like a positive reason rather than accept that either you're missing or that you could improve somewhere.
Yeah. But, and like a few of the comments were like, this is just plain wrong. And I was like, well, take some time to like reflect on what the caption says. I think the caption is pretty neutral. It's hard to like, just explore what the caption says. And he was like, thought about it, still wrong. And I was like, okay, it's not for you right now. Just sit with it and maybe it'll come back to you. Yeah. But yeah, I think being able to have that, like, layers to your identity that are not dependent on one thing. I think if your identity is tied to one thing, it's a really fragile, I think fragile is the best way to describe it. It's a really fragile place to be. Because any setback, any difficulty, it's an identity crisis. Your whole sense of identity is going to come crashing down. It's the end of the world. Like if it's the thing that encapsulates to be honest, it's actually impossible to have only one layer to your identity. You have more layers. I think you just need to open up your consciousness to appreciate them. Everyone is like someone's child. Like you have family around you, even if you're your only child. Parents, maybe your parents aren't there. You're in a community of people around you somewhere. Like you're a friend, you're this, you maybe have a job, you're a student, there's going to be something. There's going to be other layers to your identity, but it's not shutting those off. It's not like disidentifying, is that even a word, with all those other layers and just 100% indexing your self-worth in this one avenue. Like allowing yourself, just because you enjoy other hobbies and you let your mind go to other places doesn't mean that you're any less serious about training or that you're going to get worse results. I think there is this idea that you need to be one track minded, absolutely 1,000 billion% obsessed to get good results. And I think that's a fallacy, and I think it's more harmful than beneficial.
I think it is too. I think the ultimate obsession and the ultimate pursuit of something involves acceptance that you need time where you're not pursuing it physically or mentally. Like the best way to pursue powerlifting is to be able to train and then relax and not think about your training.
It's one of them ones as well. Joey has explored this really well. That in some sports, like basketball, you can go to the court and make 5 million free throws if you want.
That's true.
You can't do that in powerlifting.
No.
You can't go into the gym and just do a 10-hour session fucking Rich Piana, like a 10-hour arm workout, whatever it's
Last
called.
workout you'll ever do, man.
You can't do that. There is like diminishing returns, especially with powerlifting.
Yeah.
You can only train for so much time in a day. You can only do your 7 SBD sessions in a week.
Okay, take basketball then. Like, okay, let's say someone could argue that I'm gonna go to the gym for 2 hours. I'm gonna shoot for 2 hours before, 2 hours after. It's like, what about?
You know there's diminishing returns on that as well.
Yeah.
You know after the first hour of doing any work, your focus is starting to go down.
Yeah.
There's getting to a stage where you're actually getting worse at the skill.
Yeah.
And I know everyone can relate to this. Like, you are getting worse at it. When we used to play football, I had a bag that had like 10 footballs in it. I would go out to the pitch and I would take like little free kicks and stuff like that, just over and over. And I knew there was a point. Everything just starts going worse and worse and worse, and it starts degrading even more. And the more you try to fight it, the worse it gets, and the worse it gets, and the worse it gets. There is just with everything a point of diminishing returns, but especially in something like powerlifting, there's only so much.
Oh, of course.
It's
The
really
best
salient
example
in-
of yes.
yeah.
So how could you foresee someone still making the argument? Okay, so I get the diminishing returns. So 5.5 hours training a day. That's like, yeah, okay. I don't know.
Just I think it's
And then what happens when your shoulder is
you
too
overuse
sore?
injury and then you can't do anything, and then you're having a complete crisis.
Are you useless now?
Yeah.
No, you're not at all.
No. One person who I really, really, really admire, and I think he gave me the confidence in this outlook, is Chris Bumstead. Man, I fucking love that guy.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
I love that guy.
Yeah. He speaks so well.
Man, he was one of the first people to like express these ideas so openly and so articulately, and he's at such a high point.
Yeah.
It was such a shift in my outlook of the world, hearing these ideas from him. He's someone who I really look up to a lot in the expression of that. He said the reason that he like stopped bodybuilding was it was no longer aligning like with his values that he had, where he could have continued going, getting more followers, getting more money, getting more fame, getting more popularity. But he realized his values were surrounded around like being there for his family, being present-minded with his family. So when he's with them, not being so concerned that am I going to be like good enough for this 10 minutes that I'm on stage? Is my waist a little bit bigger? Are my legs a little bit smaller? Oh shit, I missed a meal because I was with my daughter. Blah, blah, blah. I don't even know if he has a son or daughter, but whatever. That concept, him exploring these ideas, him exploring having different avenues, not being tied to bodybuilding. He said he was always like aware of that, not being like one track minded, having other elements to his life, elements to his persona, elements to who he views himself as. Man, I love that guy.
He's great.
Shout out to him.
One person that I don't know too much about, but he comes across very well, is Sam Sulek as well.
Yeah. He seems very
like he's
grounded.
He's all in on bodybuilding, but still seems very healthy and grounded and genuine and healthy.
Yeah. Aside from all the gear, but like
yeah. Besides the like effect of taking that gear, psychologically
healthy. Yeah.
Healthy.
Yeah. From everything that I've seen, I would think that.
Yeah.
I would think that.
Man,
I was gonna say what
that's
time
great.
we're looking at. Yeah.
I think we're perfect timing.
Yeah. That was a thoroughly enjoyable one. Hopefully there's some value in there. Fuck, meant to do this. I might actually cut this and put it at the beginning of the podcast.
Man, would you shave your beard and leave your mustache?
Movember coming up. Man, my granny told me, she was like, Andrew, shave your beard. And I was like, no. And she was like, shave it. And I was like, nah. And then she's like getting everyone else everyone in the room. She's like, what do you think about his beard? It's not good, is it?
Jesus.
Yeah, no. She's like, oh shit. And then she was like, next time you come to visit. And I was like, hey yo, right?
Wow.
You're lucky I've got a little bit of thick skin going on around here.
Damn. Why, she just doesn't like it?
Yeah, no, she just didn't like the beard.
Okay.
Uh,
You see,
allowed. It's allowed.
here's a question though. You're so lean right now. Why don't you get your face out? Man, if I was that lean, I'd shave my head, bro.
Maybe I'll think of it. Movember. Maybe I'll do Movember. Who
Man,
knows?
I think you're hiding a chisel under there.
Man,
Why are you hiding it?
because it's too sharp. I don't want to cut myself day to day.
Yeah.
And now we'll cut back to the end of the episode. Thank you guys so much again. And see you in the next one.